What's up guys, Gaonan here, and welcome to episode 6 of Drafting to Masters. Our runs haven't been going the greatest lately, but we won't let that stop us from continuing our journey. I started this series for two reasons. One was to share my draft knowledge, and two was to have some fun. I didn't start this series to try and prove that I'm better than anyone else. Just because I'm consistently in the top 50 Masters doesn't mean I don't run into rough patches too. I also genuinely enjoy playing and talking about this game, so feel free to add me in game using the above game tag. Now let's get this bad taste out of our mouths and continue our climb to Masters. To remain as open as possible, I'm going to take the Mask Maker here. These types of effect that give +1/+1 to a whole bunch of units if you get any type of tribal synergy is pretty strong, and at the very least it can pump one or two guys on your board, so it's not the worst card in the world. Next we've got Wormstone, we've got Calligrapher. I think those are the two best cards in the pack. I'm looking at Graceful Calligrapher here. I think the card is very strong. Really nice body, gotta love the endurance so that you can go aggressive and defensive at the same time. So I'm going to take Calligrapher here. Surgeon Saw is by far the strongest card in this pack, and I'm going to take it here. Everything else is pretty underwhelming. I'm going to take Saw here. Peacekeeper's Helm is a very nice pickup. Pensive Lumen is also good. Those would be the two cards I'm looking at here. I like the tempo of Peacekeeper's Helm more, so I'm going to take that. Now we've got some interesting choices between Wormstone, Welding Torch, Learned Herbalist. I'd say those are the cards that you should be looking at in this pack. I think I'm going to take Welding Torch here over the other two. I really like this card. Getting up to 7 feels so good with it, and even if you don't, you just play it on 4 or something like that, it's a pretty nice boost. So, only one toughness worse than the old Sheriff's hat. So that puts into perspective kind of how strong this card really is on 4, and it's even stronger on 7. So I'm going to take Welding Torch. We get rewarded for taking that Welding Torch because Shugo Standard comes up next, and it's by far the strongest card in this pack. Standards are just very strong because they help mitigate flood, but they also provide a spell in the event that you've got all the power you need. So I love Shugo. I love the standards, and Shugo Standard is actually one of the better ones. Jack's Choice is interesting. Illumination Wisp is reasonable, Sentry is reasonable. I don't love Flamefang Charmer just because of the double influence cost. I think Jack's Choice is probably the most powerful card, so I'm going to take that here and keep it moving. Ruination Sledge is good. Right now we are just stacked on weapons at this point, so really looking forward to getting some units soon, but I don't mind stacking up on weapons early. They're pretty strong. I'll take this Miner's Canary here. We don't know if we're going to be in Rakano or Argenport yet, and I think Miner's Canary is better than Banished Umbran, so we'll take that here. Don't love any of these cards. Not going to play a second Canary. I really don't like Spell Sword, so I'm going to take Core Scavenger here. Lingering Influence is fine, and another Core Scavenger. On to Pack 2, and we've got some interesting choices. We are not in time, so I don't think we can really look at this Beckoning Lumen. Whirling Duo is interesting, but I think Arc Sentry is probably just way stronger in limited. Strength of Many is also a consideration, but I would say you want to be between those three cards. If you were in time, I would be looking at any of these 3 time cards. They're very strong, but I'm going to take the Arc Sentry given where we're at right now. Okay, so we've got Oni Ronin, which is one of the best 1-drops in the game. Can really get a Warcry train going with this and Arc Sentry, so I like that. Rapid Shot is also very strong, but right now we only have Surgeon Saw in Shadow, so it's likely that we're going to end up Rakano because we did get Justice cards late in the first pack, more than anything else. So I'm going to take this Oni Ronin here and keep it moving. Crown Watch Paladin is not great in draft, but given that we've got a decent amount of weapons to pump it up and maybe keep it attacking, I'm going to take it here. Grenadin Drone is also a very reasonable one drop. Entrapment is okay removal. I don't love it. And then Valkyrie Militant is just kind of average. You know, you think about Rotor Cycle, and Valkyrie Militant is worse than that. So, and those tend to go pretty late in packs 1 and 4. So I'm going to take the Crown Watch Paladin here. Another Oni Ronin. I like that. There is an Extinguish, so there's something to be said for that too. But there's also Stalker coming through. There's Disassembler, so this seems like it was just probably a pretty strong pack, but happy to get a second Oni Ronin and just be on the aggressive plan. Minotaur Oathkeeper also helps with many of these small guys continue to attack, so I like that a lot. Dark Return is very good, Island's Choice is very good, but Oathkeeper makes the most sense here for our deck. I don't think there's a world where we play this clan hero. I also don't love Sparkbot. We did just see an Island's Choice come through, and there's also the possibility of like a Line Breaker Shield or something like that. So we could use this Huru banner potentially, so I'm going to take that over the Sparkbot. Crown Watch Legionnaire is not the strongest of units, but it does block decently. Stone Powder Heretic is very good with weapons. We do have quite a few weapons at this point, so I kind of like taking the Heretic here over the Legionnaire because I think Heretic is probably a better top end than a second core scavenger, so I'm going to take the Heretic. Ornate Katana is great, replaces itself and just keeps us aggressive, so like that. Audacious Bandit is also good. We could play Waystone, but I think we rather take the Bandit here. Quick Draw is no joke, especially when we've got so many weapons that have a lot of power attached to them. So Audacious Bandit seems good. Here I'm going to take the Skycrag banner. This just kind of solidifies if we do see anything in Primal that we have the potential to splash it. I'm not going to play either of these cards, and Sparkbot might play that. Holy cow, Sword of the Sky King. This is a really interesting pick. Sword of the Sky King is obviously powerful, but Arc Sentry fits our plan a little bit more, and I kind of like the plan that we have going right now. So I'm going to pick this Arc Sentry over Sword of the Sky King. I don't think we need this big weapon to finish out games. I'd rather just continue the Warcry train, be aggressive, and keep pounding into our opponent. So let's take that here. Rooftop Vigilante is a very strong card. If I had any way to splash that, I would. Humble Instructor would work with Crown Watch Paladin. It would work with Arc Sentry. That's all it would work with. I'd rather just take a second consistently strong Minotaur Oathkeeper here. Guerrilla Fighter is also something we should keep an eye on for the exhaust effect, because that could help steal some games as well. But happy to see another Oathkeeper here. So this could be our third Minotaur Oathkeeper. They are very good in multiples, so I am going to pick it up here over Strength of Many. Both of these things mess up combat math, and 3 of these will allow our Oni Ronins, our Crown Watch Paladins, our Arc Sentries to just keep on attacking, keep getting those war cries. So I like a third Oathkeeper here. Unpredictable Outlaw is actually really good in our deck. We don't have a ton of weapons so far, but I think we have enough to make it worthwhile. It's also just a solid 2-drop, 2/2 for 2, so with some extra tech, so I like that. Valkyrie Aspirant is pretty strong here. It's a good flood protection. Minotaur Oathkeeper allows it to, you know, swing for multiples a turn, so I like that a lot. Another Audacious Bandit is fine. So here we could definitely splash for this polymorph. We are pretty removal light at this point, so it might make sense to take the polymorph rather than pass it here. So I'm going to take it. A 4th Minotaur Oathkeeper is pretty insane. And to make sure that we can play that polymorph, we're going to pick up this other Huru banner. Crown Watch Legionnaire is fine. Doesn't matter. And another Skycry banner. So that polymorph is about as free of a splash as it's going to get. And lo and behold, we get rewarded, and now we can play Changey Stick as well. That way we can get this Crown Watch Paladin in the air, get something with Warcry in the air, and just keep on having the Warcries come through. So Changey Stick is great here. I don't think any of these cards make our deck. We could potentially play War Painter. Maybe we need Trick Shot just because we don't have any tricks yet. Yeah, I'll take Trick Shot here. This time around, I'm going to take the Rotor Cycle since we don't have a ton of flyers yet, so that'll be really good. Once again, we don't have a ton of tricks, so Sharpened Reflex is good for us. Peacekeeper's Helm is on the plan, so I like that. We may play this War Painter, so we'll pick it up here. Manufacture has a little bit more synergy than these two do, so I'll take that. A second Canary could be worthwhile. We might, find a way to pump it up given all these different weapons, and then we'll be able to swing in the air, so we'll take that. Don't know if we'll play it. Sky Crew is good flood protection, so we like that. Another Peacekeeper's Helm. This draft is insane. Crown Watch Recruiter. Don't know if we'll play it, but we'll take it. And Illumination Wisp. Alright, so we've got a lot of cuts to make because we got a lot of playable cards. Really like the idea of this deck, and I'm excited to see how it turns out. First things we need to look at are probably our units. So I'm keeping all these Minotaur Oathkeepers, I'm keeping the Oni Ronin, I'm keeping the Valkyrie Aspirant, keeping the Crown Watch Paladin. Gonna cut at least one of these Miner's Canary at the moment. I like Outlaw. Sentry seems very good. Legionnaire and War Painter I'm pretty lukewarm on. Probably War Painter gets cut. I like the Bandits, but maybe not two of them. And I don't love these core Scavengers. I like Heretic. I don't like Recruiter. So we're at least getting close to where we want to be. I like all three of the Peacekeeper's Helm. I like the Changey Stick. Yeah, all these weapons are fantastic. Really the next thing to look at, we don't need this Manufacture. I don't think we need Lingering Influence. I like Sharpened Reflex. Trick Shot only because we don't have a ton of tricks in our deck. And I like the Polymorph. So Lingering Influence can go. We've got 3 tricks, we've got 1 removal spell, and then like 4 pseudo removal spells, 5 I guess if you count Welding Torch as well. So pretty decent mix. Now we really need to look at units again to see what else we want to cut. Probably don't need this Canary. I don't think, Arc Sentry is going to be able to block similar to Canary, so we can take Canary out. We have plenty of flood protection with Valkyrie Aspirant, Sky Crew, and a lot of these spellcraft weapons. So I'm not worried about playing 17 power, even though we're a pretty low curve deck. So we'll cut the Crown Watch Legionnaire, and I think we'll be pretty happy with 17 power in this deck. So we got the banners in. Now we can add power. We don't have anything that searches for power, so I don't think we need these Primal Sigils at all. I think 4 is enough for both of these effects. They're going to be late game cards that we want to play. We don't need, the added inconsistency of Primal Sigils. We don't need to play them on curves, so Don't have any double influence for any of our cards, so that's really nice. I like the 9-8 split here. So this deck looks amazing. I love the Oath Keepers, I love the early Oni Ronins, I love the Arc Sentries, and the attachments that we have are bonkers. So I'll be really disappointed if this deck doesn't do really well for us. Also, just want to say thank you for joining me for this 6th episode of Drafting to Masters. I hope you'll join me for the game footage as well. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. As I mentioned in the 5th episode, I don't plan on posting to the subreddit more than once a week. I don't think it adds a lot of value to the community as a whole, even though I do think my videos are good at educating people who want to improve at draft. So, really excited to see how this draft goes. Let's get into some games.